Hello, this is WG, and welcome back to another podcast. So today I'm going to take a little bit of a break from dissecting different books and things like that, and instead I'm going to talk about what are known as lexical ambiguities, or in other words, words that are either back-to-back in a sentence and one-word sentences. And I also want to talk a little bit about contractions. I'll say that towards the end because it's a little bit more of a minor thing. But first of all, what exactly is a lexical ambiguity? So, lexical ambiguity is something which occurs when a word choice or two words back to back have multiple meanings, and as such, could be interpreted in several different ways. And one word sentences are pretty self explanatory. They're just sentences that occur that just repeat one word and yet make grammatical sense, but it takes a little bit of time to actually dissect them and understand them. So I originally found out about one-word sentences when I was watching a video by TED Ed. For those of you who don't know who they are, TED Ed makes animated videos where somebody will talk for, let's say, anywhere from 2 to 7 minutes on a certain topic. So let's say, for instance, one-word sentences. And then these videos are also animated. So they're kind of like animated, short, little lessons that are just so interesting to watch. I'll link the one that I that I watched in the description. Definitely check them out. And before I go on talking, please do subscribe and hit that bell for more videos similar to this one, and more videos on books and literature in general. And if you guys like content like this one, as opposed to more book-related ones, please give this video a like, and comment down below any other video ideas you have. And as I'm practicing social distancing, and I'm under quarantine at the moment, and I really hope that you guys are as well, which is good because that way I can produce more videos. So without further ado, let me talk about one-word sentences. So I guess I'm going to start by giving an example of a one-word sentence. So take the word police. Police has two different meanings. Police can mean the police officers, so like the law enforcement that you got that I'm sure everyone is familiar with here. I believe almost every country in the world has some sort of police. Don't quote me on that though, I'm not 100% sure. And police also means to ensure that somebody is following the rules, kind of like to moderate. So, an example would be police, police, police. One moment. Sorry about these gaps in the audio. I'm recording this just straight up live, no script. So, let me just make sure that sentence makes sense. Oh, sorry. Police, 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 police. So that sounds really weird. I just said the word police 5 times in a row. But let me explain. So the first police refers to law enforcement. Second police refers to law enforcement moderating. So let me reword this. Law enforcement moderates other law enforcement who also moderates other law enforcement. You get that? So police, law enforcement, police moderates, police, law enforcement, police moderates, police, law enforcement. It's very, very confusing, but I'm sure very few people actually speak like that, and we wouldn't really use that in conversational English, but it's just a way to show how easily it is to bamboozle the English language. And that's just one example. I've heard a couple other examples. This is an example from the TED Ed video I watched. Buffalo, 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 buffalo. So that was a lot of buffaloes there, but buffalo has 3 meanings. Buffalo refers to the city. Buffalo refers to the animal, also known as bison, or buffalo as in the animal. And third, buffalo can also mean to bully. So buffalo, buffalo refers to buffalo from the city of Buffalo. Buffalo, bully. So buffalo from the city of Buffalo, bully other buffalo from the city of Buffalo. I know, neither of these sentences make sense, and it takes a long time to wrap your head around it, but write it down on a piece of paper. So again, that's buffalo, 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 and then write their meanings underneath it, and you can kind of translate it into what we would actually how we would actually say it while speaking. Sorry, I have a little bit of a dry throat here. So another thing I want to talk about in terms of, I'm not really sure if this is considered lexical ambiguity, but sometimes we'll use a word twice back to back. This isn't as extreme as one word sentences, because we actually use it a lot. So let's say we're talking about, let's say I was sick a month ago. So I was sick a month ago, and then I could say either I had a cold, or I had a, let's say I had a fever, or I had a fever. Technically, I had is grammatically correct, but it sounds so weird. I had a fever. You have to change the tone for it to like actually sound like a real phrase. I had, not I had. It doesn't really make sense, so you have to change the tone. But then it still doesn't make sense in the English language, in my opinion, because you're saying the same word twice in a row. Like, I don't really speak any other language. I know a couple phrases in a couple other languages, but I've never heard of a language that has the same word back to back and it still makes sense. English is a very confusing language at times. I don't know about you guys, but let me know in the comments if you guys agree with me here. Had should not be something that's grammatically correct. In my opinion, at least. Now, thirdly, I want to talk about contractions, as I mentioned. Now, this is just one contraction, but for a little bit of a recap, contractions are two words combined with an apostrophe to make one word. So let's say the word shall not, shan't, or cannot, can't, or, well, yeah, those two examples. The other two examples I want to use, though, are, go back to cannot equals can't, but then sometimes we'll also just say cannot as one word. So what really is it? Can't, cannot, with a space in between them, or cannot as in one word? It just doesn't really make sense to me. Like, why can't it just be one standard instead of having 3 different options to say the same 2 words? Another thing I want to talk about is will not. So based on all the other contractions, it should be willn't, but instead, will not as a contraction is won't. Why? Where did the O come from? That's like my only question. I get it, it's easier to say, and it's a lot easier to pronounce, and I'm glad that exists, but it doesn't make sense if you think about it. Because there is no O. Well, there is an O in will not, but that O is never used in any other contraction as far as I'm aware, or at least from the ones I mentioned. And then, but then also that O occurs right after the W. Where did that O come from? Why did we decide on O? And willn't isn't even that hard to pronounce. Why don't we just use willn't? Alright, well, I'm very sorry, but that's all I really had time for today. That was just all I wanted to talk about. I just had that idea randomly, and I decided, no, I'm going to talk about that. So, thank you so much for listening to this video, and as always, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell for more videos like this. I'm hopefully going to be uploading a lot more as of late, and I'm going to be uploading a lot more podcasts like these ones, because it's like, I really like recording these, just talking, and I can just talk off the top of my head. And let me know if you guys have any other ideas for me, or any other ideas you want me to try and talk about. Like, I know I have a lot of fans who are in school at the moment. If you guys want me to talk about how to take notes, or studying, or anything like that, please let me know. I really do want to diversify my topics a little bit more, because, I mean, I've been talking about the Hunger Games I've already had a video on the Hunger Games, and on Animal Farm, and there's actually 2 more Hunger Games videos in the editing process. One of them might not be seen anytime soon, but yeah, there is definitely a Hunger Games video that will be coming out pretty soon, hopefully. It's quite a long one, so yeah, I'm trying to diversify my topics a little bit more, which is why I gave you guys this video. And be sure to check out the TED Ed video that I will be linking in the description. And as always, thank you so much for watching. This is WG, and you have just watched Books versus Books on lexical ambiguities. Thank you.